US fans, Robin here, back again with some Shadespire content for you. Pete and I are a bit of a Christmas break, which Christmas is now over, and we haven't quite got any games yet, so we thought we'd do a quick couple of videos for you to keep you entertained until we can meet. Very life getting in the way at the moment, until we can meet and play some games. But until then, here's a little insight, if you like, into my objective deck creation process. Here are sort of 10 tips for you, if you like. Tips, perhaps a stronger word for it. 10 ways in which I do my objective deck building. Now, hopefully this is of use to you. I think some of it will be. Some of it might be teaching you to suck eggs, or teaching your grandma to suck eggs. But anyway, I was going to do 10 tips for deck building, but actually once I started, I realised I could do 10 on objective decks. Here we go. Here's number one. Decide what sort of deck you want to play and what warband you want to play. Bit obvious, this one. Obviously you've got to decide what race you want to play. Then you need to decide, do I want to play a combat one or do I want to play an objective stealing one? They're probably the two main ones. There are flavours of them, defensive ones, whatever. But probably you've got to look, am I going to play full out offensive, or am I, which Pete does all the time, or am I going to be more objective driven, in which can the decks that you build will be very different. Obviously you need different cards if you're going to be running after objectives, depending on who you're playing as well. It makes a difference. So that's the first thing to decide. Number two is collect all the cards together. Yes, another obvious thing maybe, but having decided what sort of deck you want to play, whether you're going to be objective stealing or offensive or whatever, you need to collect all the objectives together, which look vaguely useful. Collect them all together, so make sure you've got all your generic ones and all your faction specific ones. Put those together, and so that's number two. Pretty simple, really. Number three, having got all of the ones together, I go through a first pass, looking through which ones I might be achievable in a game of Shadespire the way I like to play, and that gets rid of quite a lot of them. Some of them are, you can't. Some of them are mutually exclusive. Some of them I just don't really like. So anything I don't really think I'm going to get, then I get rid of those. Number four, take that deck. So you've winnowed it down to, I don't know how many cards, 20 maybe, and then go through it and take out the ones that you really want to achieve. These are the ones that you are. This is the core. This is what you're about. This is what you want. This is what your deck, the theme of your deck. This is what you're trying to do with your deck. So go through those, take them out. This is what everything else in your deck is going to be around. This sort of half a dozen cards of how you're going to play. So you pick those out. That's what you want. Okay, so then you should end with somewhere between 6 and 10 objectives when you've done that, and that is the theme of your deck. You've done it. Well done. We're halfway there. Of the remaining objectives that you've got left, so you've taken out the core 6 to 10 or whatever that you have, take those out and then discard any that are left that don't fit in that plan. So go through the deck, supposing you play Stormcast, and actually you cleanse, getting into your opponent's half, taking their objectives. You decided that isn't what your deck's about. Get rid of it now. And so you'll end up with any that you're just not going to get. That isn't what you're after. Get rid of those. That should give you somewhere between 12 and 15, which is getting close to what you want. So now we're going to do a bit more fine tuning, and we move to number 6. Make sure you've got a good balance of cards in there. So you need to make sure you've got some easy grab objectives, some things you can get out in your first turn. Some immediate ones, some earn glory immediately cards. They're really good to have in your objective deck, and the third end phase ones. Make sure you haven't got too many. Make sure you've got some. You need some big scoring ones. You need some low scoring ones. Make sure you've got a good balance of cards. Obviously, you need some end phase, third phase objectives. They're the big scoring ones. The third phase objectives. I will do a whole video about third end phase objectives, and hopefully there'll be a link up to here. I haven't made it yet, so it won't be there yet, but hopefully it'll appear there over time. And but you've really got to think about it, because you don't want too many in your deck. Because if you have too many, they're going to come out at the beginning, and that's no good. I think if you have 6 cards, six objectives that you can't get at the beginning of the game, it's a 50% chance that 50% chance 2 of them will come out in the. I think that's right. I think I've done the maths right. Correct me if I'm wrong, if the maths is wrong, but I think there's a 50% chance that 2 will come out in your first turn, and that's no good, because the 2/3 rule is very important. The 2/3 rule, for those who haven't heard it, is that you need to be able to score 2/3 of your objective cards for the first turn. In that first turn, you need to have a chance to be able to score, because if you don't, you're not going to cycle through your deck. When you're creating your objective deck, you're trying to cycle through it. You want to get through those cards as quickly as you can in order to score the most glory. That's why the score immediately objectives are useful, because they will help you pick up glory and cycle through your cards so you can pick up more glory. If you have 3 score immediately cards in your deck, there'll be a 50% chance that one of them will come out in your first turn, so that's pretty handy. So there's 2 things. If you've got 6 that you can't score, you might end up with 2 half of the time. If you've got 3 that you can score immediately, you might end up with 1 half the time, and that's much better. You get one of those, and then it's effectively you have a chance of scoring 4 cards by the end of the first turn, because you will draw another one. Obviously, balance it might not be one you can score, but there is a chance every time you pick up an objective card, you're 1 step closer to scoring more glory than your opponent, which is vital. So hopefully that made sense. So make sure you've got a good balance. Think about what you want to achieve, but you don't want to be like, oh, I have to get this one out in the first turn, because you might not. But you want to if you pack it with enough score immediately cards, chances are you'll get one of them. So think about that. 50% chance 3, and there aren't that many in the game. So, but 3 will give you a 50% chance of getting one first turn. 7. This is the tricky bit, I find, is try and have the foundations of a plan B. So have a look at your card. Okay, it's very good to have focus. You need to have that focus in order to have a plan, in order to execute your plan to defeat your opponent. But what if that goes wrong? What if they're trying to do exactly the same thing, or they just, like Pete did in my game, he ran off when I was expecting to beat him up, and he ran off and I couldn't attack him. That's very frustrating. You'd have a plan B. In the game Oryx versus Reavers, I put in Supremacy, because I thought I was trying to gain territory and stop him from gaining territory. But what if that doesn't work? He won't be looking for Supremacy. I'm going to go for it, and that's worth. If you can think of a sneaky way of gaining some extra glory, or gaining glory when things aren't going right, then that's a good way to turn the tables on your opponent. If you're under the cosh, you need a plan B, a way out, a way to adapt your plan if things are going wrong. So number 8, let's go away and pick your power deck, and with that in mind, I'll do another video for power deck. We'll put that one over here as well. But with that in mind, with your objectives that you've made in mind, go away, do your power deck, come back for number 9. And now when you've got 2 decks, check that they match, and check that actually this deck does marry up with this deck. So that's number 9, and you've still got 12. If you had more than 12 objective cards, then now it's time to get rid of those, because you know exactly what it is you're playing for. Get rid of those, whittle it down to 12. Sometimes this can take many times. I remember when I was doing that Auric deck, I kept going backwards and forwards, taking out power, adding in objectives, swapping backwards and forwards. It was a bit of a nightmare. So, but you do at some point have to come to a decision, get down to 12 objective cards with what you built in your power deck. As you go, because you might have had a different idea why you had a theme for your objectives, but while you're doing your power deck you had another thought, so you might swap things about, but that's still okay. The game hasn't started yet. Number 10, the final way. So number 10, I would double check my objective deck just to make sure that you have a way of you can control when you get the glory. So there are cards like Ploy Master, Guild for War, Battle Without End. You can do those things, and your opponent can't really stop you. I mean, they can, but they can't. It's very hard for them. You're not dependent on them doing something or not doing something, or the luck of the dice or whatever. You can get those with the minimum of interference, or even with the maximum of interference. You should be able to get cards like that, and that should help you. If you're having a starved of glory, then you might have a chance of getting some without, even if your plans aren't going that well. So it's all very well in theory creating this objective deck, but the biggest problem will be as soon as it starts to interact with your opponents, it's going to go wrong. So you need ways to mitigate that, and some things that you can always control are much better. So make sure you've got 1 or 2 of those in your deck as well. So they're the 10 ideas I have for creating an objective deck. I hope they were useful. Apologies if they weren't. Do give us a thumbs up if you liked it. If you have any other ideas, anything you do when you're building your objective deck, or if you think my maths is rubbish, or you think anything I've said is rubbish, then do leave a polite comment below. I know many of you enjoy watching Agents of Sigmar, so thank you for that. Many of you out there probably play more games than us now, so although we make these videos, you probably know more about it than us. So if you have any other ideas or any things you do with your objective decks, or any neat little mathematical tricks you can use to stack the odds in your favour, do let us know in the comments below. That'd be great. So until next time, Peter and I have got a game coming up fairly soon, which hopefully you'll enjoy. And we've got a couple more talking head style videos for you as well, so hopefully you'll enjoy those, listening to our lovely voices. So until next time, hope you enjoy your Shadespire. Do let me know about your objectives decks, and look out for Power Deck video coming soon. Until then, bye bye, take care, bye!